I'm looking for the working moms, the ones who feel guilty about not having enough time or energy for what's most important to them. Because let's face it, after a long day of working and, the never-ending to-do list, you've got nothing left to give, and then you feel guilty. So if this is you, watch this video for my best tips to ditch this type of mom guilt once and for all. For the best advice for moms, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified every time I post a new video. Hey, this is Stephanie from embracethebeautifulchaos.com, helping moms find their zen in the whirlwind craziness of motherhood. In this video, we're talking about mom guilt, in particular for the full-time working mom. I'll be sharing with you 3 tried and true strategies of how to handle the mom guilt so you can better enjoy the time that you have with your loved ones. I've used these 3 strategies myself with a lot of success for years. I'm amazed at the difference. I can't wait to share it with you, and I'm really excited to hear how all of it works for you. It's no secret that working moms have a lot to do and very little time to do it in. Time or lack of it for a working mom is a huge stressor. We're pushed to do it all, and when we fall short, we feel guilty. And no one likes to feel this way. So to avoid it, we plan and plan and plan. We make lists and lists, and to make sure that everything runs smoothly so our lives don't self-destruct, we need to make sure that these plans are followed to a T. But here's the downfall with that strategy. We can start to become that drill sergeant mom, right? And yeah, we can accomplish a lot. And yes, we get our family to accomplish a lot. And, we are producing. But after all the pushing and go, 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 and all is said and done, the bags are packed for the next day, the kids are bathed and tucked in, and, we're finally resting a little, catching our breath from the go, go, go of the day, we may realize that we weren't the exact kind of mom that we had hoped to be with our kids that evening, right? I'm looking at you, short patience. And drum roll, please. The mom guilt sets in. So to avoid this from happening, let's look at step 1, which is to establish what's most important and plan that into your day first. Okay? Now, of course, we're planning, but this could be the really important things, right? Could be playtime, could be downtime, could be a rest, of just silence. Is that wishful thinking? It could be time that you spend with each family member. Maybe there's some type of rotation. Look, whatever works best for you and your family is what you should do. Okay? Just make sure that whatever it is something that is fun for everyone and that you stick to it. Most importantly, most importantly, make sure that these activities are aligned with what truly is most important to you. Okay, lined up with those top priorities. So for example, say you want to nurture your relationship with your elementary school child, and a good way of doing this might be to play a favorite game that they have. Now, this could be a board game, it could be a video game, whatever, but make sure that if that's the best way for the two of you to connect, that you're scheduling in some Minecraft, for example. And who the hell cares that you don't know what you're doing? This will keep you less commander and chief and more a mom who's engaged in the moment and, opening up opportunities for fun and bonding. And when things don't go to plan, okay, and they won't, it's guaranteed, don't lose your shit. Take a breath. You're not a bad mom. You're doing your absolute best. Just take the breath, keep going. It's all part of this motherhood deal. All right, so with that said, it brings us to our second step, step number 2, which is rewrite your expectations. For a long time, a huge trigger of mom guilt for me was my morning routine, right? I had to get my sons up and ready for school on time, okay? I'm not a morning person. And on most days, they weren't either. So there were many mornings filled with stress and yelling. And I would then feel guilty about it all day long, vow to have a better day the next day. And sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't. And it wasn't until I reworked my main priority for those mornings that they shifted. So I took what was most important to me, right? A good relationship with my kids, sending them off, starting their day in a healthy, calm, positive way. Instead of we're going to be on time no matter what, at any cost, it shifted to, I'm going to get them to school as happily and calmly as possible. I still had the goal of getting them to school on time. Okay, that was still a goal, but my primary focus was how we were doing it, right? So most days, before this was a goal, most days my kids were not going to school on a very happy note. Sorry. But after I reworked this, it shifted and they were going on a happier note. So even the days that I ended up being late, it wasn't as big of a deal because I didn't have the mom guilt afterwards, because at least we had a peaceful start of the day. So I want to ask you a question. What about those really crazy days? You know, the ones you've worked all day, the kids had school all day, and then you have an evening full of extracurricular activities that go until late. Everyone gets home super hungry and exhausted. All right. I want you to ask yourself, picture yourself in that situation and ask yourself this question. Are my expectations for this night realistic, for this type of night? Are my expectations realistic? Are my expectations for the normal days realistic? Sometimes, even on these crazy days, we still think we have to play supermom. And unless we get through all the things on our to-do list and every single check box is ticked off, we're failing as a mom. And that's not true. Let me challenge you to think about it differently, especially on the crazy days. Okay, especially on those long nights. Maybe it's enough for these days just to simply sit next to your child as you both veg out on your own device and decompress. Maybe it's enough, if you're having a really crazy week, to just let it be what it is and not force an issue or not, beat up on yourself that you're not on the floor playing Candyland with them. It's okay. So definitely I'm challenging you here that if you have expectations that you aren't consistently hitting with your family, with time you're spending with your kids or what you're doing as a mom, take a step back, take a deep breath and reevaluate your expectation, because a lot of times when my expectation isn't matching up with, what's happening, it's usually an indicator that I need to rework it somehow, to reconsider it, and that things can be reworked. Once I put that work in and say, okay, well, Wednesdays are a crazy night. So Wednesday, I'm not planning any special time. I'm planning some downtime. The kids can have, half an hour or whatever I decide on their electronics. I'm gonna just veg out with a magazine, with a book, with my iPhone, whatever, and that's enough, right? So definitely question yourself and your expectations. Maybe you haven't realized them until now. Maybe you didn't even think about this stuff, and that's okay. I'm glad that you found this video and that you're getting this info now. Question your expectations. Comment below if you've ever felt frustrated with unrealistic expectations or can totally relate to feeling guilty when they're not met. Okay, so we're planning what's most important and getting that into our days, and we're reworking our expectations. We are on a roll. Keep up the wonderful work. But one last thing. Remember how we said things won't always go as we plan? Well, they won't. It's guaranteed. So when that happens, please, please, please remember step 3, which is to be gentle with yourself and your family. Our best laid plans and expectations do not always work out. It's guaranteed that this will happen. So if your reality isn't matching up with your expectations consistently, it's totally okay to reevaluate, right? Like we talked about. Take a look at those expectations with grace, all right? It's no way a reflection of you or your capabilities as a mom. You will need to be the gentlest with yourself on your craziest days. And that's okay. Right? It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to have crazy days. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay for someone in your family not to be okay. All right? There's no shame there. It's all part of the process. You'll have a much easier time getting back on track with life and enjoying it more when you have a gentle approach with yourself and with others, especially when things don't go as you would have liked them to. The same rule applies when you mess up. right? As a mom, I mess up all the time. So instead of feeling guilty about it, I acknowledge my mistake. I fix it if I can, usually involving some type of apology or, definite change of action. But most of all, I'm compassionate with myself. Please realize that you're human. Please realize perfection doesn't exist. Don't be fooled by social media or anything else. If you're gentle with yourself, you can be a better mom. So hopefully these 3 tips were a huge help for you. I go into way more detail in my book, which is Embrace the Beautiful Chaos of Motherhood, The Secret of Staying True to Yourself. And I'm excited to announce that that will be available early 2020. So now you know how to better deal with mom guilt as it relates to limited time and energy as a working mom, hopefully guilt-free. But what about the other causes of mom guilt? I've created a whole series on this topic, which you can find in the links below. How do you handle mom guilt? Leave your best tips in the comment section below. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe. You can always share with mom friends who might be going through something similar, right? Because us moms are all pretty much in the same boat anyway. And please give me a thumbs up so I know to make more videos like this if you liked it. So if no one's told you, you are doing a wonderful job. You're an amazing mom, and those kiddos are lucky to have you as their mama. I'll see you in the next one.